is the middle of the week. Um, Excited. I've got great plans coming up. We're leaving town tomorrow. It's my birthday on Friday, so I get to celebrate that with some of my family on the lake, and we're gonna have a great time. I was gonna go golfing, but I don't think that's gonna happen now. But I am gonna spend some time on a boat, tubing with my kids and my wife and some other family members and friends. So excited about that. So, anyways, um, go ahead and drop in the comments below where you're from, where you're tuning in from. I'd like to know. I'd like to get to know some of you guys. Let me know if you are on Mounjaro. What dose are you on? Are you having problems finding your medication? I know that with me, I have been on the 15 milligrams now for, shoot, it's been probably since like maybe November. It's been a while. If you don't know and you don't follow my channel, I have gotten off of Mounjaro back in February, I believe, and I ended up getting on Trulicity. Now, I will do a more in-depth review, I guess, video on Trulicity, because I did speak about my experience on Trulicity. I chronicled it through different videos about how it affected my blood sugar, how it affected my weight, uh, how did it affect me coming off of Mounjaro onto Trulicity, and coming back onto Mounjaro starting at the 15 milligrams after being off of it for a month. A lot of people wonder, well, if I get off of Mounjaro, what will happen if I come back? Can I start at the top where I was? Can I, start at a higher dosage? Do I have to go back down to the 2.5? And absolutely, that is absolutely incorrect. You do not have to go back to the lower dosages. You are okay. At least for me, I was okay to go to the 15 milligrams. I've been on 15 milligrams since I got off of it on Trulicity. I got back on the 15 milligrams of Mounjaro, and I have done absolutely just amazing. I've done great. It has not affected me. I have had flare-ups, as you probably experience yourself, with constipation, with I don't know if you guys have experienced this. If you have, drop a comment below. I'd like to know. I'm sure you have, but I've had experiences where I feel like there's a knife just in my gut. Just, it's got a massive cramp feeling going on, where I'm just doubled over and just needing to go to the restroom, and I can't because I'm so constipated, and just my stomach hurts so bad. Have you ever had that feeling? I'm sure you have. It's a side effect that's common. Drop a comment below. Let me know what your current side effects are. And if you can, please hit the like button. Let's get more people in here. Invite people to this video. If you know anybody that's on Mounjaro who might benefit from Mounjaro information, go ahead and share this right now. Let's get this video out. Hit the like button. As I said, I know we've had several people in this chat so far. Go ahead and hit the like button. It does help, and it kind of gets it out there with the algorithm. But today I'm going to share with you guys some great news. I have written down my A1Cs since last year before starting on Mounjaro, and I wanted to kind of share with you where my A1C is now and where it was back in January of last year. I started Mounjaro in June of last year, so I've actually been on Mounjaro as of this week almost a whole year now. And so, with that said, I'm going to share my A1C, what it is now, but I'm going to go back and share kind of what it's been, and where I'm at now. So, anyways, my A1C back in January of last year was, let's see if I can get this to pull up here. I wrote it down just so you guys know. Excuse me, I had it written down on my phone, but now it's wanting me to type in a password. So I've got it right here. January 12th, 2022. It was 12. My A1C was 12. If you're in here today, guys, would you give me a like? It helps the video. Go ahead and share this with your friends. Um, I want to get this out to the community. My A1C was 12, okay? My A1C was absolutely out of control. I couldn't control my blood sugars at all. I've been on medications, you name it, I've been on it. Victoza, Trulicity, Ozempic, I was on Farxiga. I was on um, different types of medications that's supposed to help you lose weight. I was up to 300 pounds, and now I'm down to about 205 pounds, which I'm completely fine being at. But 12 was my A1C back in 2022 in January. Didn't know anything about Mounjaro. I didn't even know anything really about GLP-1s other than I was on Victoza for like 3 years as I got this A1C. So you can see that the Victoza really wasn't doing hardly anything for me. So then you fast forward to, I believe it was April of 2022. I got my A1C done again, or had my A1C done again, and it got better. It went down to like 10, but still wasn't very good. And again, I was taking metformin, which I still do. And I believe that was all I was taking at the time. I was trying to do a ketogenic diet. I'd been doing keto on and off for the last several years. I was doing intermittent fasting, and that worked to some degree. But the keto really, really worked well. But the problem with the keto is if you do not stick with the ketogenic diet, um, you'll gain all this weight back. You start eating carbs, and it's very, very hard to stick to. If you do keto, you have to do it forever. And some people say that it's not good for you to do long term. Some people say, that's what our ancestors did. The carnivore diet type, you eat meat. That's what they did. They woke up, the intermittent fasted, not trying. They just did it because they had to go out and they had to hunt and get their food. And so, there's a lot of hot topics out there. Should you do it? Should you not? It worked for me. I lost a lot of weight doing the ketogenic diet. But it was very, very hard to keep up with it. So going to April, as I said, it went down. And then I had went on a trip, and I know I said this in a video somewhere, but I went on a trip to Florida, went to Panama City, and my feet were burning all the time. I was just miserable, horrible. I mean, awful. I thought, well, maybe I need to buy some new shoes. So I bought some shoes, diabetic shoes. This is kind of actual funny story here. I have never shared this on my videos, but I had actually got online and bought some diabetic shoes. And I can't remember the brand they were, but they're made for diabetics. And I bought these shoes thinking my feet are going to feel better. And I got these shoes, and they look like space shoes. I mean, they look like something you'd wear if you're going into space. Very embarrassing. I mean, these shoes are like huge. I mean, I wear a size 15 shoe, so I already have big feet, a big guy. But my God, these shoes look like they're probably like Shaq shoes. I mean, probably they look like they could have been like 18s. I mean, just huge clown shoes. Very embarrassing. But my point is, those shoes did not make my feet feel better. They just made me look kind of embarrassing and kind of stupid, really. Um, it was the neuropathy because my blood sugars were out of control. So I went on this trip, and that was in April. I came back. I ended up getting on the Farxiga. Farxiga really kind of helped my blood sugars immediately, but it wasn't like something that was going to be long term. It was something that I noticed a difference because it was new to me. Blood sugars came down, but not exactly where we needed them to be. They did come down a little bit. Obviously, the Farxiga works in a way where it actually pulls the sugar into your urine and kind of empties your sugars out that way. But you're also more prone to urinary tract infections. So I ended up getting off of that when I went to my endocrinologist. I went to an endocrinologist for the first time ever in my whole life. I'd been a diabetic for 14 years now. Never went to an endocrinologist. Why? I have no idea. It beats the heck out of me. I would think that my doctor would have put me with a endocrinologist a long time ago, but he didn't. And so I went to the endocrinologist, and right when I went to the endocrinologist, God, I can't talk today. They said, "Hey, there's a new medication that just came out. It's called Mounjaro, and I'm going to give you a free sample of it. It's supposed to be really good." And so that was my journey, started out on Mounjaro. So with that said, I started on that in June. In that next month, July, my A1C had already dropped down to 7.6. So you can see that Mounjaro is very powerful. You may not lose a lot of weight on it, maybe where you're at right now, but your A1C will probably more than likely get better. I don't know how it couldn't. I mean, it's that awesome. And for me, as I said in different videos, my A1C, my blood sugars are more important to me than my weight. Now, with that said, I only weigh 205 pounds. If I weighed 300 something pounds, that would be different. I was at 300 pounds one time. So I'm not dogging you or saying anything bad about, well, if you weigh 300 pounds, if you're 280, if you're really plus up there in your size, I completely get it. I understand why you would be upset if you're not losing weight. Completely understand. You might try, just a little side note, a little tip. You might try intermittent fasting. If you're on Mounjaro and you're not losing weight, try intermittent fasting. If you don't know what intermittent fasting is, it is where you obviously fast, that's a given, but you would take a time where you have a window where you eat and then so many hours where you're not eating. Because after 12 hours of not eating, your body starts changing into a fat eating process. Normally in the first 12 hours, it's eating your carbs. Once after that 12 hours is over, it usually your carbs are pretty much depleted and it starts eating your fat. So I did that for years. What I did my way, that I did it, was I'd go to bed at 8. I wouldn't eat until like noon. So it was really easy. I just basically skipped my breakfast. I would eat my last meal at 8 o'clock at night, and then I'd start eating lunch at noon the next day. So that was my 8-hour window of eating and 16 hours of not eating. And it actually does work. There's science behind it that, when you intermittent fast, the longer you fast, your body will put off human growth hormones. So if you're an older person, and you're wanting some of that human growth hormone, you want to kind of, get that testosterone up. If you're a man, even if you're a woman, it puts you in a fat burning mode. It'll start eating and burning your fat. With that said, I did that. And it worked for me on and off for the last probably 6-7 years. But my A1C got better. So it dropped down to 7.6 just within that month of taking it. And then when I got on the Mounjaro, I will say that the endocrinologist also put me on a fast acting insulin. So I was doing the fast acting insulin and the Mounjaro at the same time. And it was dropping my A1C so low, I was getting shaky. It was down to 50. And this went on for like 2 months until I had my A1C checked again. And they said, yeah, your A1C is way too low. Now, I don't know about you guys, but all this time of being a diabetic where my A1C was out of control, they always told me, you got to get your A1C under control. You got to get your blood sugars under control. They're out of control. You're going to have kidney failure. You're going to have all of these complications, all these problems. And once in my life, I finally, as a diabetic, get my A1C down to 5.3. I thought for sure these doctors are going to just praise me and say, you did an amazing job. Congratulations. We are happy for you. No, what they said was, your A1C is too low. That tells me that your blood sugars have went too low and it can be dangerous. So, and I completely get it. If they're too high, they're dangerous. If they're too low, it can be dangerous. Just different ways of dangerous. High, you pick your poison. You want it high where it does damage to your body, or you want it too low where it kind of does damage to just your way you think, the way your cognitive actions are, the way you process things. You know, I've been to the point where I've been driving and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so lightheaded, and you know, you just got to eat something real quick. I've been in moments like that, and I absolutely hate them. But I thought for sure they were going to be happy, and they weren't. So they took me off of the fast acting insulin, pulled me back, and I checked my A1C again, and that was in January of this year, and it went up to 6.3. So that was really, really good. 6.3. Was very happy about that. Um, and that was actually, I take that back. March of this year, it was 6.5, not 6.3. And I just got my A1C checked now, and it's 6.3. So 6.5 back in March. Um, I believe that was somewhere around the time when I got on Trulicity. So I got off of Mounjaro, got on Trulicity, and it was only for a month, but my A1C went up a little bit to 6.5. I need to tell you, and I know I've done videos in this and kind of talked about Trulicity. When I was on Trulicity, my blood sugars went up to 400, and it was ridiculous because I hadn't seen those numbers since I started on Mounjaro. And when those numbers were up to 300, and my A1C went up to 6.5, that just goes to show you guys. And I'm not bashing Trulicity because I'm sure it works for some people, but for me personally, Trulicity did not do jack for me. So I got off of the Trulicity, I got back on Mounjaro, and my A1C has dropped down to 6.3. My weight did drop down too when I got off of Trulicity back on a Mounjaro. So anyways, guys, my point of this whole thing is to share with you my A1C over the last year since I started on Mounjaro. It has been great. It has definitely been affected by Mounjaro. I'm super happy. I never thought in my life that I would be able to diabetic with good blood control or good blood glucose control. I never thought I could because everything I tried never worked for me. They were even thinking at one point that I had an enzyme that, you know, are you really type 1? Because nothing would work. No, I'm type 2, but I just needed the right medication. So I'm super glad to see that we are actually on the right path to the future for diabetes. I feel like, you know, Mounjaro, you have the semaglutide, you have the Tirzepatide, you have the new stuff that's coming out that Lilly's coming out with, which is very promising, very exciting. You know, they're even talking about right now in the middle of working on the pills for the Tirzepatide, I believe. Just different things that they're trying to come out with. They've already have a pill out already that I'm sure you know, that's the semaglutide. For people that don't like the injections, I don't mind the injections. They're pretty easy for me. They don't bother me at all. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for joining the chat. If you can, smash that like button because it does help a small channel out like myself. And share this if you can. I would really be thankful for that. I will be doing more of these live videos soon. And I think I might be doing a lot for members only just because I got to give them something to have that's exclusive. And I think I might be doing more in-depth, more personal things when it comes to Mounjaro and personal things in my life that has been affected by the Mounjaro. Things that are more probably personal than I would probably share on a video, but it would be something that would be special. And so if you're interested in that, you can join the membership. I would love to have you. I look at this as a community of people that all are in it together to lose weight, to drop their A1C lower, just to be more overall healthy and move forward so you have a future. I have to have a future. I have kids that are young. I have a wife that's young. Last year, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. We went through all that. I do got a great praise report. I mean, we've been praying and stuff. My wife had a full body scan yesterday. When was it? Monday. And just been kind of concerned about some things and that's been going on with her for the last year. And the scan, we just got back the results on the scan and everything was good. So praise God for that. I'm happy. I'm thankful. you know, it just seems like sometimes in life it's one thing after another, you know. But that's the thing about community. When you have community people there that can share their stories, share their successes, even share their failures. I don't believe anybody's a failure unless they give up. You're never a failure until you give up. You know, you fell forward. You know, when you mess up and you hit your bottom, you just get back up and you just keep going, because that is what you do. All the successful people in history has always failed at one point in their life, or two times in their life, or so on and so on and so on. But you know what? They get back up and they keep going, and they eventually be successful in their life, because that's how you do it. You don't just give up, you just keep going. So guys, I'm thankful for Mounjaro. I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for my family, and I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you for joining me on this chat. As I said before, I'm going to say this one more time before I get off. If you could smash that like button, if you're watching this video, even in the future, I would really appreciate it. If you can share this video, I would really appreciate it. And if there's anything that you have, let me know. Drop in the comments below. I'm pretty good about commenting and getting back and responding to people. And, you know, I would do anything I can to help you guys out with your journey. So thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a great day, the great rest of the week. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a good night.